What's going on, guys? So today we're talking about the best-selling cards under $5 or less. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch. Got some new people. That's exciting. We got some new cards coming in, but this is proof too of what I've kind of been talking about the last few weeks. Almost feels like last few months now. The market watches, we've been going to page 3, and we've been talking about different archetypes, and it's been less of a market watch, more of like how much does this archetype cost, or that was like at least last week. And we've also spent times like talking about this thing or that thing and a bunch of random different things, not really focusing on the best-selling cards in the format, and that has to do with just a simple fact of like the best-selling cards of the format have all been the same. Right, but now we see Book of Eclipse making moves. If you remember, we talked about this card when it first moved, when it first made a slight bump. And I remember saying, why is Book of Eclipse $1? Right, because we look at it, this has been hovering around $1, but not breaching it until about a month ago. But even then, it was slowly climbing and climbing and climbing to where now it's over $2. And the reason for that is because of Dark Ruler's interaction with Kashtira. Book of Eclipse is actually just better. Because they don't really make as many Omni negations, right? And that's where Book of Eclipse is really not that good, is against Omni negations, right? But I've talked about Dual Devastator at nauseum. I think myself, I know I have this, right? Because I bought this, right? And that was my biggest thing, is like, keep an eye out on I remember saying, keep an eye on the Ultra Rare, and this still stands true. Keep an eye on the Ultra Rare. Listen, Astral Pack cards, if we look at Astral Pack real quick, Astral Pack cards are insane. Like, for the most part. I understand, like, this UA Stadium zone is, like, barely $1. This safe zone's barely 50 cents. And I get that. But, like, this Ramidus of the Red Sword is $3. And these cards that are cheaper, like the Red Eyes Wyvern, that's about $2. I bet you this is the most expensive version of this card. Unless there's like some random ultimate rare or super rare, a promotional card is, gonna trump the Astral Packs. These are all over $1. That's insane. This isn't even, does Red Eyes even run this card? Alright, anyway. The point that I'm trying to make, obviously the Astral Pack version of Book of Eclipse is going to be the best-selling version, right? But it's not a penny stock, right? So we're talking about the Dual Devastator version, which, if you just look, this is already ordered by best selling. So we're already seeing the Dual Devastator version is the best selling one. It could just be too because there's only 17 listings, right? My thing though is the rare and the common copies, especially because this came from Tactical Masters. This came from a structure deck that feels like it just came out, but actually I think it was a couple years ago now. It's not going to hit the moon. It's not going to go off the wall bonkers crazy, just simply due to the fact that there are these cheaper versions that people can play. So I would be wary about this. Don't get hit by FOMO. But I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. It was kind of like King of the Swamp, which we haven't looked at in a while. I don't think this is a penny stock still. I lied. There are versions of this that is kind of expensive. Right, because Tier Elements kind of runs, it kind of doesn't, right? And that's kind of what I was talking about when we first saw it go up, right? You're going to kind of side, it's kind of not. There is no archetype that is better by running Book of Eclipse. It's a side deck card. And side deck cards don't always go straight up to the moon, if that makes sense, right? We are seeing now, though, this is a Rescue Ace card. This is probably one of the better cards to set off of the Big Boss Monster. I've talked about Rescue Ace before. I think it's actually a really fun deck, really interesting deck. I think it could make some moves. So I would just pick up copies. I mean, we look at the first page is a bunch of 1s, 2s, 1s, 2s. This is the first person core TCG. Has 25. copies at $4, right? So right now it's sitting at around 3-ish, 350, really more than 3-ish, almost closer to 4, right? Once we get past that core TCG, we're right back to people just having 1 or 2. And the next time we get to double digits, this is at 420, no pun intended, at down for cards, and that's only 12. Next time we get over 20, I don't even know if we're gonna get someone else. It seems like just core TCG has over 20, and it could be a situation where, like, if you, let's say someone comes in and buys out like everything that's under 450 for this card, we could see other people just like throw down, like, oh, like Super Games Inc. could just randomly all of a sudden have 20 more. So just be on the lookout for that. But I could definitely see this card going up in value soon. And it could end up being a really expensive card if this deck is really, really good. Which I don't think it'll ever be really, really good, but it could be good enough to make this card no longer a penny stock. So I think this is another solid investment. Back-to-back good ones. This is so funny. I'm curious to see if there are any cheap versions still. The Sacred Beast version is like $1. This is like I think I have this version of it. I know I have a common version of this card, because I know that this card always randomly comes up. And for those who don't know what this does, because we haven't seen it a lot, but it does randomly come up because of its last effect, right? But it says when your opponent special summons a monster, you discard a card, special summons card from your hand, right? Your opponent cannot banish cards, right? And so it's that Iron Wall D-Fissure interaction where I think regardless of which comes up first, I'm pretty sure this is that interaction. I don't remember specifically, but I'm pretty sure this is how this works. Whatever comes up first, it doesn't matter. Iron Wall says your opponent cannot banish, so that actually outranks D-Fissure. Right, so the Kashtira boss monster, which we'll look at during the regular market watch. The Kashtira boss monster that says your opponent, the Dark Law effect, right, the Shenshen effect that just banishes everything, right? This counteracts that. What's actually also interesting too, though, is it says your opponent cannot banish. So it's not an Iron Wall. It doesn't say no one can banish cards. I think Lancia says that too, right? Lancia says that nobody can banish cards, or does it say your opponent? Let me double check. That's not how you spell Lancia. Because this is another card too that you should be considering, because this is the category where we're talking about, right? When we look at Artifact Lancia. And Artifact Lancia, because it doesn't really require your opponent to do something, like, Chaos Hunter is not as good because it requires your opponent to interact during you can trace it. No player can banish cards, is what I thought. But Artifact Lancia doesn't require your opponent to do something. So you can almost even do Artifact Lancia. They can go like Goldsark, chain Artifact Lancia, right? Like, you can do it preemptively before they start to do something. Because it's possible the Kashtira player special summons a monster, you summon out Chaos Hunter, and nothing really happens, right? But because it says your opponent, that kind of gives it a little more wiggle room, and also it's a free level 7 special summon, right? So that's what's one of the more interesting things about this card, is that when the level 7 is popular and banishing is popular at the exact same time, this card goes up in value. And we see, if we look at the chart, just absolutely skyrocketed. I really like it though. I really do. I really think that this is a solid card. I mean, it's been in a couple of top decks on TCG Player. And this card has always kind of made its way in and made its way back out. And what's interesting too is depending on how popular Kashtira is, this card could go really high up in value. And I know you could say the same about Book of Eclipse, but the difference is, right at the tail end, if you caught what I said about Book of Eclipse, it is not a main decked card. It really doesn't. I mean, like Sub-Terrors, I think Sub-Terrors could run Book of Eclipse. I don't know the interaction. Does anybody know the interaction when, like, you have a Sub-Terror in hand, you Book of Eclipse, everything gets face down? Do you special summon the Sub-Terror out? I don't know. But, like, nobody's doing that, right? Whereas Chaos Hunter, if Kashtira becomes tier 0, Chaos Hunter is a card that can help the archetype that also counters the mirror. So that could be really interesting, right? But don't just disregard this you can discard one card thing, right? Because we know Tier Elements is, excuse me, we hope Tier Elements is going to get hit on the ban list. But to what extent, we're not sure, right? So this card kind of helps out Tier Elements. Because you can discard a card and get their effects off of discarding, the Tier Element card. And there's a lot of different decks that want their cards to be discarded, right? Or it's not terrible if it happens, right? Now, enough about Chaos Hunter. Is it a good card to buy? I would still say yes. I wouldn't go to like $4. Like if someone's selling them for $4, but you need them for an event, like I don't know, just like run Lancia. Like I don't know. I don't know if it's like at that spot yet, but this could be a situation or scenario where we're seeing Chaos Hunter on this market watch, week after week, until all of a sudden we don't because it's above $5, right? Now that's the ultra rare version of Chaos Hunter, and this is another reason why I don't think it's the greatest buy. There are 2 common versions. They did come from structure decks, so it's not. It's not like just there's packs of it everywhere. Like it's not like those cubes, those really bad cubes. It's not like you'll find a Chaos Hunter in one of those cubes. Most likely. I hate rare versions. The secret rare version is obviously the way to go. But obviously, like I said, not a penny stock by any stretch. So I think that I don't think it'll make it above the $5 mark. But I do think that all versions of Chaos Hunters will start to move in that direction, including the cheaper versions, right? This could be a scenario where you ended up you have a bunch of these and you're wondering, like, check your commons. This could be randomly in there. Like I said, there's not like a pack other than the battle pack where there's a lot of this card. I have to double check to see where my Chaos Hunters are at, even though I don't plan on building Cash T-Rex. It's too expensive, but we'll talk about that, like I said, on the regular market watch. But I actually think Chaos Hunter, all versions of Chaos Hunter are a really good buy. Or let me rephrase. All versions of Chaos Hunter are a good buy, not a great buy. But this does bring up a good point. And I try to say this every video. Spend your money how you feel. Right? Like that could almost be like I should like print T-shirts. Like spend your money how you feel. Like it's your money. Don't let some random person on a screen tell you what to buy, what to not buy. This is just my opinion on the market, right? And I understand like economic trends, and I understand the Yu-Gi-Oh market very well. I'm a seller myself as well as a buyer, and I understand this very, very well, I would say. Like if I had to take a test on the Yu-Gi-Oh market, secondary market, I think I'd at least get a B+, if not an A. But that doesn't mean what I say is law, right? I was correct about Book of Eclipse, right? But I didn't see Chaos Hunter coming, right? And I definitely could have. I knew this card existed, but I just didn't think of it. So I know a lot, but I don't know. I think I said that a couple of videos ago. Like it might sound troll, or it might sound appeasing, but there's no way I can know more than like the collective comment section, right? Even if I know more than everybody who comments on the video, which I actually don't even know if that's true, I still won't know more than everybody. So you spend your money how you feel. If you think Chaos Hunter is going to hit $5 and you can get a playset for $4 each, pull the trigger. If you don't think Chaos Hunter is worth $250 and so you're not going to get it, don't pull the trigger. Up to you. I think it's a good buy, not a really good buy, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. So that was fun, talking about different things. Let's take a look at this card, because I think this card is also a, yes, rank 7. Once per turn, you detach material, look at opponent's card from your extra deck, banish monster from face down. At the end of the battle phase, if this card is destroyed monster by battle, you can target one of your opponent's graveyard. A card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it face down. If a card your opponent owns and possesses is banished face down when you control this card, you can banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck equal to that monster. I know I've read it before. You probably know what this card does. This is one of the better, not Kashtira, but like Kashtira cards, right? And the thing is, this card has been solid for a while, right? So that's why when we look at it, when a while ago, it wasn't really making too many moves, staying around the dollar mark. It randomly got to here, which was weird, to $3 one day. I don't know. But then over the last 5 months, really, it's been $4, right? And so right now it's at a bit of a valley, which is why I wanted to click on this card. I don't think it's gonna go to the moon. You really only need one, maybe two. But the ultra rare version's out of stock. Was the championship prize card. But like, this is, I didn't realize, this is like the only version of this card. No one is spending this amount of money on this, I hope. No one is spending this amount of money on this card. And there's 213 listings of this. So actually, it could go to the moon. It actually could. Not to the $2,100, even $50 mark. When I'm talking about the moon, I'm talking about like $10. It could actually. I do think it could go to $10. Like I said, it just depends on how Cashier looks. So I would just, at the very least, add it to your watch list. Right. Whenever I'm doing the penny stock market watch, I don't like to hard recommend buy cards that are knocking on the door of $5. But there's a reason why a penny stock is knocking on the door, of $5, and it's because it's a good card, right? Like it's a good card. There's a reason why it's getting there, right? So that's interesting as well. Another Rescue Ace card. This one, Summons from the Grave. That's the thing, like, this archetype is fine, it just needs cards. It needs, good cards to set. Like, it has cards to set, but it doesn't have, good cards to set, if that makes sense. Like, good, but not great, I guess I should say. Libermancer, Geek Boy, is this still a penny stock? Probably not, right? No. No, we'll talk about this on another market watch. That's not really a penny stock. Ian Shuffle's doing its thing. And Carlos. Yeah, this is the last card we're going to talk about. Because I thought, So this is kind of the game, right? If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, the game is, right, will it get banned or not? This is a really good card. Like, it is a really good card. And the thing is, with a card like this, it could get banned, right? Definitely could get banned. Definitely could just get ban hammered. But the thing is, too, about this card, is if the deck itself gets hit really hard to where it's neutered, to where it's like Cyber Dragon good, or like Blackwing good, like it's bad, right? This card is not going to be good in value, right? But we can look at Mystic Mine, actually, for example. Because Mystic Mine is a penny stock right now. Mystic Mine is a great example of what I'm talking about. Let's go to the most expensive version, right? This, by the way, while we're here, minor tangent, this is a really good time to buy this card. Might be banned forever, but they also just brought Macro back. They also just brought D-Fisher back. Before that, they brought Skill Drain back, right? Might be banned forever, but no cards are really banned forever. I think the only cards that are going to be limited forever are the Exodia pieces. But anyway, look at this chart. $2 to $20. $2 to $20. Honestly, even we're just over the last 3 months. But we'll go 6 months, because this is what I'm talking about. So, yeah, we'll go right about there. So this card was supposed to be banned during the ban list that dropped here. This card was supposed to get banned or limited and be gone. It didn't. And it went to here. Right? And it was like $20, $30. So if you wanted to play set, you could get it for $24. Now if you wanted one, you can get it for $21. Right? Or $20 or $18 or what have you. And then it did get banned. And it went down. Right? So essentially, where we were just at, Tier Elements for Kalos is at this spot. Right? It could get banned and go here. it could not get banned and tier elements could not get hit and go here. And don't think Konami is afraid to do that. Don't think Konami wouldn't just let tier be okay and be like, well, there's a walking macrocosmos that's a part of the best deck now. It's fine. We're not going to hurt tier elements. And Rukalos goes maybe not up to 20, but possibly back to 10, possibly at least to 5, right? Right now it's sitting at about $3, $3.99, $4 really. It could be $5 by the end of the next. It could be $7. And that's the thing too. If you buy Rukalos now, be ready for the next ban list. Because if you buy Rukalos now, let's say we go, I mean, there's not a lot of people that have a lot of copies, but let's just say we buy these 3 for $4.47, right? So we buy these 3 for $4.47, so we spend $13 on a playset, right? I don't think they run a playset, but you just have 3. That was the most I could find, right? So we buy $14, we spend that. Ban list drops. Tier elements barely gets hit. Again, this card it turns into a $5 card. But because the deck didn't get banned, it sees a buyout. Right? It sees a huge buyout and it hits $7 on the day of the ban list. Right? Or $8 or $10. I mean, we looked at Mystic Mine, right? The peak for Mystic Mine was right after the ban list when it didn't get banned. And then it started to come back down. So just be on the lookout. You could buy 3 copies of this card. I know it's another card that's knocking on the door of $5. It actually just snuck under and is now a penny stock, right? As of like a month ago, right? So be on the lookout. This is kind of a valley for this, and that's why it's in the best-selling category. It's not in the best-selling. I mean, it's barely top 24, right? But it's like 23rd best-selling card, and the reason for that is because people are like, okay, that's actually not that bad to spend on tier element Rukalos. But let me know what you guys think. What are the best-selling cards under $5 that you were looking out for? Let me know in the comments down below. I always read the comments and try to incorporate what you guys say and talk about in the next video. So make sure you guys comment because I love interacting with you guys. Make sure you guys click that like button to show your support for the channel. Subscribe for even more content. But most importantly of all, have a good day.